Have you ever met someone for the very first time and, within moments, you just felt something about them, like you already knew if you could trust them or not? Sometimes it feels almost magical, doesn't it? But here's the truth, it's not magic. It's a skill. And it's a skill you can learn, no matter your age. I want to share a story with you. Years ago, I sat down with a gentleman who was 80 years old. He had this calm, wise presence that made you want to lean in and listen. And he told me something that stuck with me ever since: if you pay attention, you can read anyone in just 10 seconds. At first, I thought he was exaggerating. 10 seconds? That's too fast, right? But then he started showing me how, and it changed the way I looked at people forever. Think about it. By the time we've lived 6 or 7 decades, we've already had tens of thousands of interactions with people. We've seen honesty, kindness, lies, anger, joy, jealousy, you name it. Every wrinkle on our face has a story, and every handshake we've ever had taught us something about human nature. All that experience is like a library inside you. What this man taught me was how to open that library on command, how to notice the small things that reveal so much about a person. The first thing he said was, watch the eyes. Not in a suspicious, detective kind of way. Just notice where their eyes go and how long they stay there. He told me, if someone looks you in the eye when you first meet, even just for a moment, it usually means they're grounded. They're present. They respect you enough to acknowledge you. Now, of course, not everyone who avoids eye contact is untrustworthy. Some people are shy or nervous. But often, when someone can't meet your gaze at all, there's something they're holding back. It might be insecurity, or it might be dishonesty. The eyes, he said, are the windows not just to the soul, but to someone's current state of mind. I tried it out. The next time I met someone new, instead of worrying about what to say, I just noticed their eyes. And suddenly, I could feel more about who they were than if I had talked to them for 5 minutes. There was a young man who shook my hand but kept darting his eyes toward the door. Without him saying a word, I could tell he wasn't fully with me. His mind was somewhere else. Maybe he was distracted, or maybe he didn't want to be there. Either way, I knew not to expect much depth from that conversation. 10 seconds, and I understood him more than his words ever could. The old man smiled at me and said, that's just the beginning. Next, notice their body. You don't need to be a psychologist to see it. Does their body lean toward you, or do they lean back? Do their shoulders look relaxed, or are they stiff, like they're ready to run? In those first 10 seconds, the body often speaks louder than words. A person can say, I'm happy to see you, but if their arms are crossed tightly and their feet are pointing away, their body is whispering the truth, they're closed off. I remember once meeting a woman at a community gathering. She greeted me politely, but her shoulders were turned slightly away and her smile was small, almost forced. Within those first 10 seconds, I knew she wasn't really interested in talking. Instead of pushing the conversation, I simply gave her space and moved on. Later, she came back to me, much more relaxed, and said she'd been nervous meeting new people. That little signal from her body told me more than her polite words ever could. And here's what's powerful about this: learning to read people quickly doesn't just protect you from being misled. It also helps you connect more deeply with those who are open. If you notice someone leaning in, smiling genuinely, eyes lighting up as they meet yours, then you know, this is a person you can invest your energy in. You don't waste time forcing connections where they don't exist. As the old man said, it's not about judging people. It's about listening with your eyes and your heart before your ears. And I think that's something we, especially as older adults, are perfectly suited for. We've lived long enough to know that words can be rehearsed, but presence cannot be faked. So when you meet someone new, don't rush to fill the silence with chatter. Take a breath. Watch their eyes. Notice their body. Let those first 10 seconds tell you the truth that words might try to cover. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell. So you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. The old man leaned back in his chair, and with a little grin, he said, "You've got the eyes and the body. Now, let's talk about the voice." At first, I didn't quite understand. A voice is just a voice, right? But then he explained something so simple yet so powerful. He said, the voice carries the truth the mouth can't hide. And when he broke it down for me, I realized he was right. Think about it. You've probably heard someone say, "I'm fine," but their voice was flat, drained, and you knew immediately they were not fine at all. Or maybe you've heard someone greet you with a cheerful hello, but the tone was sharp, rushed, and you could tell they weren't really happy to see you. It doesn't take a psychology degree to sense it. Your ears are sharper than you give them credit for. The man told me to pay attention to two things in those first 10 seconds, the pace and the warmth. If someone speaks too quickly, stumbling over their words, it often means they're nervous or hiding something. On the other hand, if they speak slowly, clearly, with a steady rhythm, it usually means they're comfortable in their own skin. And the warmth? That's the music behind the words. Even a simple good morning can feel like sunshine if it's said with genuine warmth, or it can feel like a cold breeze if it's said without care. I tried this the very next day. A neighbor stopped me on my morning walk and said, "How are you?" Her voice had that gentle lift, that warmth that made me feel she truly wanted to know. Later that week, another person asked me the exact same question, but their tone was flat, their words clipped, like they were just checking off a box. 10 seconds in, and I knew who actually cared and who didn't. Then he taught me something even subtler, the pauses. He said, when someone talks, listen to the spaces between their words. Confident people aren't afraid of a little silence. But when someone fills every second with chatter, it's usually a sign of anxiety or fear of being truly seen. I thought about all the conversations I'd had over the years, and suddenly it made sense. The people I felt most comfortable with, the ones I trusted, often left room in the conversation, room for me to be myself. Now, the old man leaned in and lowered his voice, as if sharing a secret. "There's one more thing you must notice in those first 10 seconds, he said, and it's the smile. Not every smile is the same. A genuine smile doesn't just move the lips, it lights up the whole face. You'll see little wrinkles near the eyes, you'll feel an ease in the way they carry themselves. A forced smile, though, it stops at the mouth. It looks practiced, almost pasted on, like a mask." I remembered the first time I really tested this. I was introduced to a new acquaintance at a gathering. He smiled wide, but his eyes stayed flat, cold. Within moments, I knew that smile wasn't real. And sure enough, later in the conversation, I realized he was saying all the right things but never really connecting. On the other hand, I met a woman with the gentlest, smallest smile, but her whole face softened when she did. 10 seconds in, I could feel her warmth, and she turned out to be one of the kindest people I've ever met. You see, these little details, the eyes, the body, the voice, the smile, they're not tricks. They're signals we've all been sending and receiving our whole lives. The only difference is, most of us don't slow down enough to notice them. And that's what the old man kept reminding me, reading people isn't about suspicion. It's about presence. When you're fully present with someone, those first 10 seconds tell you everything you need to know. Not everything about their past, not every secret they hold, but enough to understand how they're showing up in that moment. Are they open or closed? Honest or guarded? Kind or indifferent? And once you see it, you can choose how to meet them, with patience, with trust, or with caution. The best part is, this isn't about changing other people. It's about empowering yourself. How many times have we, especially as we get older, wished we trusted our gut sooner? How many times did we say afterward, "I knew something was off, but I ignored it"? What this old man was really teaching me was to honor that instinct, to trust those 10 seconds. And the more I practiced, the more I realized how freeing it was. I didn't need to spend hours figuring out if someone was genuine. I could sense it quickly, simply by paying attention. The old man smiled at me one last time and said, "You see, it's not about reading people so you can judge them. It's about reading people so you can meet them where they are." And those words have stayed with me ever since. We often think of reading people as a kind of defense, like spotting danger before it happens or protecting ourselves from being fooled. And yes, that's a big part of it. But as I grew older and practiced what he taught me, I realized it can be so much more than that. It can be the very thing that helps you form real, honest connections, even with strangers. Imagine this: you meet someone new, and within 10 seconds, you notice their eyes darting nervously, their voice trembling just a bit, their smile thin and uncertain. In the past, you might have walked away, thinking they weren't trustworthy. But now, because you're paying attention, you realize they're not lying, they're just anxious. Maybe they're shy, maybe they've had a rough day, or maybe they're not used to meeting new people. And suddenly, instead of judging them, you can soften. You can smile genuinely, slow down your own voice, relax your shoulders, and give them the space to feel safe. Do you see the difference? In 10 seconds, you can change not just how you see them, but how they feel with you. That's the true power of this lesson. It's not about being suspicious of others. It's about becoming more compassionate, more attuned, and more present. Because when we pay attention, we can respond in ways that actually make life better, for them and for us. And here's the thing, at our age, we've earned this wisdom. We've had decades of life teach us what feels real and what doesn't. We've learned that you can't always take people at their word, but you can always trust the signals. You know the difference between a hurried handshake and one that lingers warmly. You know what it feels like when someone looks you straight in the eye versus when they look past you. You've seen those smiles that mean nothing, and you've felt the ones that go straight to your heart. The old man told me, 10 seconds is all it takes to listen with your whole being. And I think that's something we can all practice, starting today. The next time you meet someone, don't rush into talking. Don't overthink what to say. Just watch, listen, and notice. Notice the eyes, the body, the voice, the smile. Let yourself feel the energy they bring. Trust that your decades of experience will guide you. And here's something even more beautiful: you can apply this to the people you already know, too. Sometimes we stop really noticing the ones closest to us. But what if you gave your spouse, your friend, your grandchild the gift of those first 10 seconds again? What if you looked at them with fresh eyes, as if you were meeting them for the first time? You might notice things you've been missing. Maybe a tiredness in their voice, or a spark of joy in their eyes, or a heaviness in their shoulders. And when you notice, you can respond with love, patience, or encouragement. That's the lesson I took from that wise 80-year-old man. Reading people in 10 seconds isn't about clever tricks. It's about slowing down enough to see the truth that's right in front of you. It's about trusting yourself, honoring your instincts, and using what you notice not to judge, but to connect. So, if you take anything from this, let it be this: don't ignore what your heart and your senses are telling you. The eyes, the body, the voice, the smile, they're all speaking, even when words are not. 10 seconds is all it takes to really see someone. And here's the beautiful part: you don't need to be young, quick, or highly educated to do this. You already have everything you need: your years of experience, your intuition, your patience. In fact, age makes you better at it, not worse. The older we get, the more we've seen, and the more patterns we recognize. It's like having a lifelong library of human nature inside you. All you have to do is open it. So, my friend, the next time you meet someone new, give yourself those 10 seconds. And the next time you talk to someone you love, give them those 10 seconds, too. Let yourself truly notice. It will protect you, yes, but it will also bring you closer to others in ways you may not expect. Life is too short to waste on surface-level connections. Let's use our years not just to grow older, but to grow wiser. Let's use what we've learned to see people more clearly and to love them more deeply. If this lesson spoke to you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your own experiences in the comments. Have you ever just known something about someone within seconds of meeting them? I think many of us have stories like that, and sharing them can remind others that they, too, can trust what they feel. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got so many more conversations like this, about wisdom, about health, about living fully at every age. Here's to seeing more clearly, connecting more deeply, and living with the kind of wisdom only time can give. 10 seconds may not seem like much, but it might just change the way you experience the rest of your life.